Welcome, episode 1 of the Like Minds podcast, and I'm going to start this off with saying I'm pretty damn nervous. I've started this recording about 6 times now because I keep messing up my words and trying to make it too perfect, but that ends now. We're just going to roll with it. If I make mistakes, if I fuck my words up, they're staying in because that's the whole point of a podcast. It's meant to be raw. It's meant to be just, normal conversation. So we're going to skip the part about my life story and we're just going to jump straight in with a topic today. This podcast is all about the main theme is self-development, personal development, asking the big questions, trying to get more from your life, trying to delve a little bit deeper than the surface level that I think most of us go about our days and go about our thinking, and hopefully share my stories or insights, things that I've learned, and share it in a way that has some sort of impact on your day, the way you think, whatever it is. The name Like Minds was just trying to find like-minded people, and it was also kind of like we like minds, like we like mindset, which kind of makes me feel a little bit sick in my mouth, but maybe it's got some legs, I don't know. But yeah, the main thing is going to be talking about mindset, talking about ways that you can be better, and also just a selfish thing for me to improve my speaking, improve my overcoming of perfectionism and trying to get everything spot on and absolutely right word for word, improve my ideas and improve the way that I speak. There's a bit of obviously a selfish reason for this, but I hope in my process of learning and trying and failing that you get something out of this. I did try and do a bit of a Q&A on Instagram to see if I get any questions, but the only thing that I got was from Emma Kate saying good luck. So shout out to you, Emma Kate. But if you are listening, obviously thank you. Thank you for tuning in. And I've put a link in the show notes for any questions that you have for me to answer. So if we do some sort of Q&A, but if there are any topics or anything you kind of want me to delve into, then it's an anonymous form. I won't know who it is. You just go in there, chuck in a question, and hopefully I can answer it in the best way possible for you. Right, jumping straight into it. I'm not sure if I put the name in the title, so if I haven't, this episode is going to be talking about something that I think just gets a bad rap. There's a lot of negative energy or feelings surrounding this word, which is failure, or this topic, which is failure. The fear of failure. We all experience it. If you're watching the video, by the way, and you see me looking away, it's because I've got notes. Like, I might have been doing this for a long time, but I still can't freestyle a whole podcast off of nothing. So we're all scared of failure in any avenue of our life, whether it's work, if you're a parent, if you're a friend, obviously, hopefully you're a friend, kids, business, like we're all scared of failing in some sort of avenue. And like sometimes we can have such a negative relationship with it that we grip onto it so tightly. Like we're so scared of failing that it just governs our every move. Like every action that we take is not usually a vote to try and move towards something. It's usually a vote to try and make sure that we're not going to get it wrong and we're not going to fail, which obviously has its place. But as I've come to learn, if you let that rule too much of your life, then it actually works against you. So from like the ages of 17 to about 24, I guess even now, like before clicking this podcast, heart's racing, anxiety is like through my body. But in previous years, a lot of that was like a constant for me. I used to have quite bad like social anxiety, let's say. And a lot of what it stemmed from was just the fear of getting things wrong. I hated not knowing what I was doing. I hated like doing things that I thought I might make a mistake. Basically, I just wanted to be confident. I wanted to know what it was that I was talking about, and I wanted every decision to be the right thing. Hence why I've restarted this podcast. Like there's still some element of that now. I've restarted this podcast to get it perfect, get the intro right, and like make every single word hit and be a professional before I've even been a beginner. Like, so that's a thing that's like driven me. And for a long time, it just led for me to choose like the assured path, like choose things or make actions because I was like almost certain that I would get it right and it would like kind of go my way. Because in my mind I was like, well, if I get things right, if I make the right decisions, if I say things in one take, if I don't say if I don't fuck up my words, then like I wouldn't be an idiot. I would never make an idiot of myself, and like I'd give off this persona that I was, to be honest, I don't really know. Fucking amazing apparently, but it's not really a way that we should kind of live our lives. The thing with failure is, the thing that sucks is that we feel our failures so deeply, but 90% of the time, no one sees your failures. I've called this thing, well, I've heard it before, but I'm calling it now the front row effect. So I want you to kind of picture like being in a cinema, like your life is kind of a cinema. The way that we perceive the world is like you're in a film. Like from your point of view, you're watching everything that's kind of going on, every single little act, and I don't even know what they call them in films. Is it act 1, act 2? You know what I'm talking about. Each different stage of the film, like you're watching everything that goes on, like all the good, all the bad. You're also watching all the thoughts that you're having, all the things that you're saying to yourself, oh yeah, I'm going to go and do this, I'm going to go and do that. Or all the things that you tried and attempted and it didn't work out the way that you wanted to, or it worked out amazingly, but you see everything. And we kind of feel like people are sitting there as well. Like, maybe this is just me, I could be wrong, but like, I feel that sometimes everyone has seen, and not only seen, but everyone has remembered all the things that I have fucked up in. A lot of my life has been on social media, so maybe it's different, but you could even relate this to like conversations that we've had with friends or family, or maybe like words or phrases that you said, oh yeah, I'm going to go and do this, and you don't. And we kind of feel like because we can remember it, because we've been sitting there watching that movie, then everyone else has been as well. And we act in accordance of that. So maybe you don't go for that risk because you made this risk 2 years ago. You made an idiot of yourself 2 years ago, and someone's definitely going to remember that. So if I try and put myself out there now, then I'll just look a little bit silly. That's the way that I've kind of felt. A lot of my decisions have been, in a way, just done in accordance to, right, okay, well, I've made this decision before, or I've launched this program before, or I've made this Instagram post before. Like, yeah, I didn't get the feedback that I wanted, or I felt like a bit of an idiot, and everyone else is going to remember that. Everyone else is going to remember what I said fucking 2 years ago, but like, it's just not the case. So like, that's one thing when it comes to failure, is a lot of the times we only see them. So it's just like, only if we can get over it, then we can move past it so much quicker. Humans have like we have like a negativity bias. Humans, we have a negativity bias ingrained from our ancestors. So cavemen, like, you kind of needed to focus on the negative. You had to focus on all the bad things that happened because it was kind of the thing that kept us alive. So we have a tendency of like focusing on the negative, but we're like kind of hardwired to avoid it. If something bad happened ages ago and like you didn't want to repeat it because it could like kind of cost your life. And if you feel like you disagree that we don't focus on negatives just as people, then this could backfire massively. But like, I feel like we're all very good at listing all the things that we've done wrong. So if I said to you, right, name 10 things that you've done wrong, you could probably write those down quite quickly. And then if I say name 10 things that you've done amazingly well and right, or things that have gone well in your life, you may struggle a little bit more. And that's kind of relating back to that negativity bias that we've got ingrained to us. So failure can be like seen as a bad thing if you're passive to it. If you're just failing blindly and constantly, and then just like, oh, well, that went wrong, and then you just kind of move on, then it is a negative. It is a shit thing. And for many years, that's literally what I did. Like, so in my like period of anxiety, I'm gonna call it, those years 17 to 24, where I was the easiest way I can put it, I didn't really have like a parental figure to kind of guide me from all these things that I went wrong. So I would make mistakes, but I never really got the feedback. Like, I kind of just had to figure it out it's not like I'm saying I didn't have parents. Dad lives in Tenerife. Mum moved to Tenerife when I was 17. I was kind of like just by myself. So with that, I was like making the mistakes, but then I was sort of just not really like having someone to be like, right, okay, well maybe do this next time. I just sort of like did it, moved on. Over the years, I did actually grow confidence. I did like kind of throw myself into situations, but with that also grew my ego. So I was more sure of myself, and I was, okay, maybe making mistakes and then allowing myself to make more mistakes. But I was also so fucking stubborn to take advice, because after years of kind of making mistakes, not really having that feedback loop and just sort of internalizing that, I just kind of thought, well, no one knows what they're talking about. I'm just going to go and figure this out on my own. And I just kind of thought, you know what, I'll just make even bigger failures and even take even bigger risks and try and just make massive jumps, just try and do things that I thought would put me ahead, but ended up just growing into bigger and bigger failures. So the first one was when I was 19. I qualified as a PT. I was like, yep, gonna move to Tenerife, gonna go there, set up my business, and then I'm done. Like, I had no intention of coming back in my mind, and I was like, yep, I'm done. Didn't work out. A couple of years later did I was trying to launch a coaching program around Christmas. I did a slim down for Santa as one of my first coaching programs, PTing. It went well in the gym, and then I tried to replicate that as an online offering. I dressed up as Santa. I made a video, like paid Facebook ads, did like this 3-week marketing campaign for it. It was hammering it. Completely fucked it up. Like no one gave a shit, and I didn't even get like an inquiry. It wasn't even a sense of like, oh yeah, like I got inquiries and people said no. Like no one even did anything. And then I had one good month, I remember, as a PT, where I made like $2,500 or whatever, which for me in that time was quite good. I was only like 21, so I decided to go rent a flat. Because I thought, that's it, like, I'm the man. I'm going to do this. And that failed miserably, so much so that it drove me into so much debt that my hand was forced to move back to Tenerife because I had nowhere to go. Like, parents were there, whatever, so I had to pack up my whole life. Each failure kind of really kicked me down for long periods of time. So the move to Tenerife, once that dream was kind of squashed, I was just like, I just started drinking a lot more. I worked in a bar, I was doing a lot more drugs, and kind of just gave up for 2 years. The flat and the Sansa thing, that was kind of in the same window, but I remember I was like fucking crying about the Santa thing. Like, I was just so upset. And then the flat thing was like a massive ego shock boost, like a massive kick to my ego. And I was very much in this notion of things are happening to me and not for me. So relating back to what I was saying earlier of like failures, when you see this, is like, oh, these are such terrible things. Well, it felt terrible to me, but whatever it is that you're kind of thinking about at the moment, these are such bad things. I can't believe all this stuff's like kind of happening to you, but there were so many things that I had kind of done wrong there that I could have just looked into and like learned something and pivoted and moved on and gone forward. And then like the turning point for me, which funny enough was literally only April last year. So what were we, 2025? April 2024, after I'd come back from traveling, I'd built my business up to this certain point. I kind of steamrolled my way, tried to achieve the success, and my dream was always to work online and work abroad, and I thought moving to Australia was going to be the solve to all my problems, or just moving halfway across the world somewhere that wasn't Tenerife. But I got to Bali, just again made mistakes that were just silly. Like by the end of, I think, month 5 or month 6, I had to come home because I had no money. Like, I was just dead broke. So I came back home. First went to Tenerife. I thought, oh, maybe I'll go to Tenerife and things will pick up again online, and they didn't. So my only choice was to come back home and sleep on my mum's sofa again. And there I am, 20, what am I now? I'm 27. So my 26th birthday, sleeping on my mum's couch, and I finally got it. It finally clicked. The penny dropped, and I realized like failure is unavoidable. It's like inevitable. Yes, some people experience it more than others, and sometimes you feel like you can't catch a break, but it's there to teach you. Failure, if you let it, is the direction of your life. It's showing you all the things that you're not, all the things that you kind of need to move away from, it's exposing all the parts of your thinking, all the parts of your personality that are failing you, I guess, in life, and are stopping you from moving into that into that next level. And only when you switch your mindset and see it as that, and see it as like your greatest teacher, can it then become a good thing. Like it then becomes the map or the compass of your life. Each failed attempt has like a sliver of information to guide you onto your next move. And like I said, I relate back to what I was saying before what was I saying before? That's what I was saying. God, I'm gonna have to cut that bit out. That was a long pause. What I was saying before of like, if you're passive, it's kind of just going to keep happening again and again. And that's kind of what happened with me. It was just like, I probably could have avoided, and now we can sit here and say like, you were 22, like you've not matured. Maybe someone will throw out the thing of men's frontal lobe doesn't actually fully develop until they're 25, which is probably somewhat true. But had I had the information, or had I just parked my ego to one side, I probably could have avoided the amount of failures that I've had, or the amount of things that have gone wrong, if I had just been like, right, okay, why did this thing go wrong? Like, rather than playing the victim and being like, oh, why is this happening to me? Why does all bad things happen to me? Like, switch that to then, what made this happen? What was the reason? If we link back to like the Sansa thing, why did that fail? Why did the flat fail? And like, if I take a step back, I was like, well, I was just an idiot with money. Like, I didn't understand. I had no perception of money. No one really like kind of taught me how to be good with my money. So it was literally a case of get paid, spend it all straight away. And then my mindset back then was like, well, I'll just make more like within this month and then I'll be fine. And that cycle just kind of grew and got worse. But that was back in like 2021. So it wasn't until 4 years later of constantly having this negative relationship with money, and like saying it out loud makes me feel like a bit of an idiot, but it was 4 years of making that same mistake. And then I was like, oh, okay, maybe I need to like, invest a little bit. Maybe I need to save. Maybe I need to like not spend all my money straight away. My friend has a funny story. When I moved into the flat, I also went and bought everything brand new. Like, I think I got a couple things on Facebook Marketplace, but other than that, everything was brand new. And then in that same week, I went and got my car like valeted, and he was like, what were you doing? But like, I literally didn't have a clue. I've written here that when you get something right, like for the most part, for most people, when you get things right, when you do the right thing, we've done that. Like, yeah, I'm the man, I'm the fucking dog's bollocks. Like, that was all me. But when things go wrong, it's never, oh, that was my fault. It's usually like, oh, well, the algorithm's against me for my Instagram post. I'm going to use examples of myself. The algorithm's against me, or so-and-so did this, which made this happen, or, oh, it's because of that. Like, it's never usually like, oh, do you know what? This is actually could have been my fault. Like, I did this thing, which then led to that. And again, this is leading back to the whole way of being a bit more active with your failure and breaking them down. And even if this thing had happened years ago, and this is what you're thinking about, oh, I made this mistake 5 years ago, and it's like, okay, what could I have learned from that? It's not always your fault. Yes, sometimes like things just happen, but for the most part, you can always extract some kind of lesson out of it. So yeah, moving to Tenerife when I first qualified as a PT. Apparently, you need to know a little bit about business before you actually go and up your life somewhere in Europe, and it does take a lot of work to set up a PT business. So that was my first lesson. The Santa one is just because you dressed up as a Santa and walked the streets of Woking and made a video and posted every single day does not mean that people will just flood to you. Like, yeah, like it doesn't mean that just because you do something once, it works again. And then the flat one we've already kind of covered. So I kind of want to finish up the end of this podcast, these episodes aren't going to be terribly long, but with some like closing thoughts and some things for you to kind of think about and reflect. A big thing that I'm a massive advocate of is like being intentional with what it is you're doing, not just kind of like being, what was the word? Being proactive instead of, what's the opposite of proactive? I can't think of the word right now. What's the opposite of proactive? But kind of just not letting things like, I don't want you just to listen to this and be like, oh yeah, that was cool. I actually want to like, I mean, it'd be great if you could write these down, write them in your phone, write them on pen and paper and kind of break them down, like, and actually get a lot out of them. But question number one was like, when did you last feel like a massive failure? When was the last thing you thought, fuck, I really fucked that up? And it could be small. It could mean a lot to you. When was the last time that you can actively remember, yeah, I did that wrong. Like, that really didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go. And what lesson could you take away from that? Like, what's the thing that you could have done differently? What could you do next time were it to happen again? Another thing is, which I'm a massive advocate of in terms of this whole failure piece, it seems bad in the moment. Like I said in that first kind of little bit of a tangent of like the front row effect of, you're in the movie, you're watching it happen, you're watching this massive mistake go on, and it feels like the end of the world. Like, it is terrible. Like, and it is like, and there's no way that you can kind of, maybe it is gonna suck, but like, when I was sleeping on the sofa, 26 years old, not a pot to piss in, like, it felt bad. But I'm a big believer in, if you zoom out far enough, this very negative thing is going to turn into a positive. You give it enough time frame, it's going to turn into a positive. And I have pure belief in that. Something that went wrong. So I'll give you an example about me. So coming back just then, like I was saying, coming back from Bali was such a failure for me. Like, I felt like such a dick. Like, I'd built up this thing of, I'm going away, and I said to people that I'm not coming back, and I'm going to live in Bali, or I'm going to go and live in Australia, or I'm going to be this online coach, and that's kind of me done. I was so cocksure of myself. And then when I had to come back with my tail between my legs, sleeping on my mum's sofa again, my ego was bruised. My ego was bruised so badly. And it could have been the thing of like, it felt bad for me because, again, I'm in that front row, but I felt like other people were not judging me, but they were just like, oh, well, yeah, see, you fucked that up. And they remembered all the things that I had said, all the way that I had acted, and all the aspirations that I had in my head. It could have been a bit of that, but if you zoom out far enough, it's probably one of the best things to ever happen to me. Like, when I came back, this is 18 months ago, I was shit with money. I didn't really conduct myself in a probably a good way with business. I was very like short, intense bouts of work, get a little bit of success, and then try and ride that success forever. Didn't really have like systems in place. I was always the kind of person that thought happiness lived over there. Like, in this moment, I don't feel that great, but I know if I do this thing and I move over into that place, that's where the confident Lewis is going to be. That's where the happy Lewis is going to be. So I always used to move back to Tenerife all the time, thinking, oh, well, yeah, England's a problem. Like, oh, I'm going to move to Bali. That's going to solve all my happiness issues. That's going to solve all my confidence issues. That's going to solve everything. Like, that's the answer. Everything's always over there. But when I came back, I was like, that's not the answer. I had a deep-rooted problem that I understood, that I needed to learn to be where my feet are. Like, the grass is greener where you water it, as they say, but be where your feet are. Like, it's here, it's not over there. So that was another lesson. And, well, that's another thing that's kind of happened. So I've managed to get better with my finances and actually sort myself out. I've managed to appreciate every moment of where I am, not where I think I should be, or where I'm hoping to be in X amount of time. And I've got a great job. I've got a great relationship. I'm sitting in my house. I don't obviously own it, but like, I'm in a capacity where I've been able to rent and not push myself into financial ruin for over a year now, which, again, that doesn't sound amazing, but for someone that's taken 26 years to understand how finances work, that's huge for me. So that negative of coming home and bruising my ego and feeling like a huge failure has blossomed into such an amazing thing. and like I wouldn't be here making this podcast and having the confidence to create like the Like Minds community or the podcast or delving into the coaching and all these kind of things had I not fucked up massively. So if you zoom out far enough, then yeah. So that's a bit of a reframe of like, whenever you do make a mistake, because you will fail and you will get things wrong. It's gonna suck, and I'm not gonna say like that piffy little quote is gonna turn it around, but just remind yourself that in time, remind yourself two things. Number one, what could you learn from this? Where is the lesson sitting in that failure? And number two, just think, what are the implications of zooming out? What does that mean in 6 months once this thing's changed? If you've lost your job, come out of a relationship, if you've failed at something within your business, like what are those implications? Does that mean you can pivot now? Does that mean you can delve into this thing you've been thinking about for ages? Like, you can get excited over the possibilities. And yeah, and I'm just going to share my favorite quote in this, because I just wanted to, add this in for a little bit of a sign off, which is, the tragedy of life does not lie in not reaching your goal. The tragedy lies in having no goals to reach. It isn't a calamity to die with dreams unfulfilled, but it is a calamity not to dream. It is not a disgrace to not reach the stars, but it is a disgrace to have no stars to reach for. So whatever it is that you're thinking about, whatever it is that you're worried about getting things wrong, just send it. Fuck around and find out. That's what I say. And yeah, that's it. We're done. 28 minutes. This could have been terrible. This could be no one listening at the end, but we've got the first one done. And sometimes you need to just do the first thing. You need to allow yourself to get things wrong to then be able to move forward and get things right. So let me know your thoughts if you are here still. Again, links in the show notes of any topics you want me to cover. My newsletter's in there. You've got a 5-day mental reset. If you feel like you're a little bit unmotivated, you've got unclear thoughts, then 5 emails of 5 little actions that you can start doing today to help you feel more disciplined and motivated. And then you've got the links to my YouTube and my Instagram. But yeah, make sure you follow the show, and I'm hoping to put episodes out every Sunday. We'll see. But yeah, catch you in the next one. Peace.